Hello, everybody, and welcome to my budget format and bracket explainer. I've been getting a lot of messages and DMs from a lot of you in Twitch chat as well who are really confused as to how European teams can get to Berlin. Now, I'm going to do my best and break down everything for you today. It is a lot to absorb. It is somewhat complicated, but I'm hoping I can help you guys visualize it and give you as much detail as possible at every stage of the tournament so you guys know exactly what to expect. Now, let's get things started. Let's kick it off. Like I said, stage 3 is all about Berlin. Stage 2 was all about Iceland. Globally, stage 2 was all about regional teams qualifying for Iceland, as you guys saw already. So every single region is having their qualifiers and playoffs so they can get to Iceland. And now stage 3 is exactly the same. The goal is Berlin. Everybody regionally is playing their qualifiers, playing their playoff stage, just so they can get to Berlin. And of course, you want to get to Berlin because it gives you points and also a guaranteed spot at Champions, which is a massive. Sentinels have already qualified, so they're chilling. But the points are really important if we want to go to Champions, which is the Valorant equivalent of Worlds. But the problem here is people don't seem to understand how European teams can get there. Like, what is going on? What is the bracket? Why are they playing these games this early on? When do they actually qualify? So I'm here to kind of explain it to you. First, you guys need to know that unlike Iceland, because in Iceland we had 2 slots to go to the Masters, for Berlin there are 4 slots. EMEA Challengers 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. So 4 slots from EMEA. This does not mean Europe. This means Europe plus Turkey plus CIS, okay? So out of Europe, CIS, and Turkey, we're sending 4 teams, which is a huge improvement from Reykjavik, where we only had 2 teams. And of course, this is going to be a 16-team tournament. It's very exciting. Now, how do we send these 4 teams there? What tournament is determining these 4? This is where we have to go backwards a little bit and come to the VCT Europe Stage 3 Challengers. Now, basically, there's going to be 2 stages of qualifiers. Like I said, the goal is Berlin. And how do you get to Berlin? You got to go through stage 1 of qualifiers and stage 2. They're not actually called stage 1 and stage 2. I'm just using that so you guys know what I mean. The first phase, maybe phase isn't easier. Phase 1, like the MCU, phase 1 is challengers. Dun dun dun. Now, challengers involves open qualifiers, closed qualifiers, and a main event. Okay, so this is challengers. Now, no team is going to Berlin directly from winning any of these games. So if you win here, that does not mean you're going to Berlin. If you win here, it does not mean you're going to Berlin. And if you win here, it does not mean you're going to Berlin. So any games that you guys watch in July, in the month of July, any games you're watching, look at the dates. Just look at your calendar and look at what the date is, because every single game that's taking place in July is not, I repeat, not a direct route, as in direct qualifier to Berlin. So, for example, Liquid beating Alliance on July 1st, this match did not mean they're going to Berlin. Because I've saw a lot of people say like, oh, does this mean Liquid are going to Berlin now? No, it does not. It just means they go to the main event. Similarly, Fnatic beating Wave, they're just going to the main event. They're not going to Berlin. And in these main events, whoever wins the grand finals, are they going to Berlin? You guys, write it in the comments if you're here and you're listening, because the answer is no. They're not directly going to Berlin from this result. Now, where is the actual Berlin qualifier? So how do they get there? Here is the main qualification tournament, Challengers playoffs, EMEA playoffs. So everything that is taking place at Challengers, open qualifier, closed qualifier, main event, all of these games and all of these qualifiers is so we can send 6 European teams to the playoffs. Because if you come top 4 at the playoffs, that is when you are going to Berlin. So that is the game that is going to be giving the teams that direct qualification to Berlin. And that is taking place between August 12th and August 22nd. So if you're someone that just literally even after this video, you don't understand anything I'm talking about, and you literally don't know what is happening with any of the qualifiers, and you just, no matter what, you don't understand it, you can't get your head around it, please, the only thing you need to take away from this video is that any games taking place prior to August 12th does not give any teams a direct qualification to Berlin. We got it? Cool. That only happens at the playoffs, at the Challengers playoffs, at the EMEA Challengers playoffs, where, as you guys can see down here, we've got EU in there, we got Turkey in there, we got CIS in there as well. Cool. Now let's look at the Challengers EMEA Stage 3 Challengers playoffs. I'm going to just call it the EMEA playoffs from now on because I don't want to confuse you guys. So here, as you guys can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams, boom, 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 from Europe that are going to be playing in this part of the tournament. We got 1, 2, 3 Turkish teams, and we have 1, 2, 3 CIS teams. Of course, we don't know who any of these teams are right now because they're all playing their individual qualifiers. So I want to explain to you guys how teams can get to the playoffs, because if you want to go to Berlin, you have to be in the playoffs. If you're not in the playoffs by August 12th, if you're a team that lost beforehand and you don't make it to the playoffs, your Berlin journey has ended. You do not get to go to Berlin. This is the only way teams can get there. Okay, cool. So as you guys can see on Wikipedia, they've done an amazing layout that will help you guys understand this. We have 1 EU Challengers spot here, 2, 3, 4. These 4 spots are coming from Challengers 1. These 2 spots are coming from Challengers 2. Let's talk about these 4 slots first. So in order to get here, you have to play EU Challengers 1. Now, EU Challengers 1 is the tournament that you guys have been watching over the last week. The first qualification process going on in Europe. So this is where Heretics dropped out due to an upset. OG also lost to Finest. And in the closed qualifiers, we saw G2 beat Fnatic. We saw Finest beat NIP as well. Some great games. I'm sure you guys have watched this already. So everything you guys have watched over the last week so far is going to contribute to the main event for Challengers 1. At the main event, there will be 4 teams going to the EMEA playoffs, as you guys can see here. These 4 teams, they come from here. The main event of Challengers 1. I mean, it's already written there for you. Challengers 1. Challengers 1. Yep, makes sense? Cool. Good job, guys. Proud of you. So, in this double elimination bracket on the 7th of July to the 12th, all the European teams have to do is to make top 4. If they make top 4 here, they go straight here. So boom, 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 boom. I'm going to name just 4 random teams for you guys so you can sort of like help to visualize it. Let's say the 4 teams that make it out of the top 4 is, I don't know, G2, Fnatic, Ascend, FPX. That means they will go straight here. G2, Fnatic, Ascend, FPX. And they do not have to play Challengers 2 because they have already qualified through Challengers 1. Which means they have a couple weeks to prepare till August 12th in order to play this tournament. But don't get ahead of myself because they have to make top 4 here first. Now, we haven't had many double elimination brackets in Europe, so it's a little bit hard for you guys to visualize what that would look like. So I've decided to pull out a NA double elimination bracket. This is from Masters 1. Back in stage 1 a while ago, but they have a double elimination bracket, so it's pretty obvious, as you guys can see here, what would happen. So if we take this as an example, as a hypothetical scenario, let's say these 8 teams are currently playing in Challengers 1 in Europe, okay? So the 4 teams that will qualify for EMEA Stage 3 playoffs would be the top 4 teams here. So that would be Sentinels 1, FaZe Clan 2, Gen G 3, MV 4. So these 4 teams would go here. Boom, 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 boom. If that's too difficult for you, scroll up and you can see first place, second place, third place, fourth place. So now let's take this back to Europe. Here in Europe, which means this team, whichever team that makes it to this far, will qualify for the playoffs. This team will qualify for the playoffs. This team will qualify for the playoffs as well. Well, this team will technically be this one. So this team will qualify for the playoffs, and so will this one, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Once again, over here, 1, 2, 3, 4. That these are the top 4 teams of the tournament. So that means you absolutely do not have to be in the grand finals to make it to EMEA playoffs here. You don't have to be in the grand finals because there are 4 slots up for qualification, up for grabs. So if you're a team that finishes 4th, so you don't even make it to the lower final, you have qualified. Does that make sense, guys? So it's 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. So 1, 2, here's these will be the top 2 teams, 100% qualified. The 3rd team, 100% qualified. The 4th team, 100% qualified. The grand finals will be, grand finals will be for prize money for sure, and I assume for seeding. They haven't 100% revealed that yet, but it makes sense. So the grand finals would be playing for seeding. And of course, if you finish here, you're going to get a less good seed than the first place when it comes to the playoff stage. Does that make sense to you guys? I hope so. Cool. So with that in mind, let's take a look at Challengers 2, because like I said, we're sending 6 teams to the playoffs, which is very, very nice. We didn't have as many slots for the last playoff, so this is kind of cool to see. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 teams are donezoed. They come from Challengers 1. That's all finished. That tournament is going to be done by July 12th. So honestly, by this stage, by the semi-final, lower round 2 and round 3 stage, that's when when you guys will know which teams go through. I think that's going to happen on the 10th or the 11th. I can't remember. Do not hold me to it. But by the end of July 12th, if you come back to Liquipedia, these 4 teams will be filled in, because we'll know exactly who these 4 teams will be. So now we have to talk about these 2 slots. Now these 2 slots will come from Challengers 2. So BLR, thank you very much for the bracket. Challengers 2 is the exact same format as Challengers 1. We have open qualifiers, we have closed qualifiers, and we have a main event. Everything that I've already explained to you guys is exactly the same, except for one difference. Because if you look at the bracket here for the playoffs, there's 4 teams that make it through Challengers 1, but there's only 2 teams that make it through Challengers 2, because we only get 6 slots. So for Challengers 2, instead of qualifying through finishing 4th or 3rd, you have to reach that grand final. If you don't reach that grand final, you don't get playoffs. And if you don't get playoffs, you don't get Berlin. So if you lose here, you're out. Here, you're out. Here, you're out, 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 out. Only when you reach here can you go to playoffs. So if we look at the North American bracket again, in the Challengers 2 scenario, Gen G and MV would not make it. They will be eliminated, and only FaZe Clan and Sentinels can make it to here, the Challengers 2 slots. I hope that makes sense to you guys. If it doesn't, again, I just watch it again, I guess. It's not overly complicated to understand once you can see like how the bracket works. I wish I could make a graphic for you guys, but I'm big noob, so you can just put up with my mouse cursor and my voice. But yeah, like I said, so that makes up Challengers 1, 4 teams, Challengers 2, 2 teams, And the process to gear here and the process to gear here is exactly the same. Open, closed, main event, except for here you have to make top 2, and for Challengers 1 you have to make top 4. That is the only difference. Now, when we get to the playoffs starting on August 12th, like I said, this is where things get spicy, and this is where the pressure is really, really on. Now, it's going to be really sad if teams don't get through the challenger stage. Like, that sucks. Like, your Berlin dreams have died already, like, if you don't make it through here. But these games and this bracket, finishing top 4 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, will means you're going to Berlin. Like, if you just finish top 4, again, like, it's exactly the same as the NA bracket. If you make top 2, yep, you're through. If you make 3rd, you're also through to Berlin. And if you make 4th, you're also through to Berlin. Now, let's go back to the North American bracket once again. If this was the EMEA playoffs, Sentinels and FaZe Clan would have made it. Gen.G would made it. And Team Envy would also make it. So top 4 here, top 4 here, upper bracket finals, lower bracket final, grand final, top 4 here. These teams are going to Berlin 100%. So if you want to spam that in Twitch chat, like, are these teams going to Berlin if they lose today, if they win today, on August 12th through to August 22nd, go for it, because this is the tournament where the qualification actually happens. So like I said, finishing top 4 here in Challengers 1 gets you to playoffs. But finishing top 4 here gets you to Berlin. Boom, 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 boom. 4 slots. Done. Okay, I hope you guys understood that. Now I'm going to re-explain everything I just said, but I kind of do it backwards for you guys, for those people who kind of prefer to understand the format and bracket that way. So we'll start with Berlin, 4 slots. EMEA challengers, EMEA challengers, EMEA challengers, and boom, EMEA challengers. And these 4 slots come from the EMEA challengers playoffs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Double elimination bracket. You have to come 1, 2, 3, 4. Top 4 team goes to Berlin. Now, how do you get to EMEA playoffs? You have to play through 2 challengers. They're called Challengers 1 and Challengers 2. These 2 competitions. In Europe, Challengers 1 is already happening right now, and Challengers 2 is happening at the end, mid to the end of July. So for Challengers 1 and 2 is the exact same format. You have open qualifier, closed qualifier, main event. For Challengers 1, as you guys can see here, for Challengers 1, we need 1, 2, 3, 4 slots, and that is going to come from the main event, 1, 2, whichever team makes there, 3rd and 4th. These 4 teams are going to Challengers 1, 1, 1, 1. Gucci. Challengers 2 gives us 2 slots in order to make it to the playoffs. So go back to Challengers 2. Instead of finishing top 4, you need to make the grand finals. If you make the grand finals in Challengers 2, which is taking place, main event taking place July 28th to August 1st, you get given these 2 slots, and from here, you play for a top 4. Boom. Really hope you guys understand that. I'm sorry it's so budget, but I just really wanted to kind of explain in my way for those people that really struggled with how the bracket is working. But yeah, anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed this long ass video. And if you watched all of it, then props to you. You are a real G. And I'll see you guys on the upside for some non-budget content. Woo!